The night of Halloween 2012 was ending simply enough for Celine. She had just dropped off her 3 sons with their father after an evening of trick-or-treating. The only thing on her mind was a bubble bath and some wine. After unlocking the front door, she tossed her keys into a bowl on a nightstand next to it and bolted the door. However, the spirits had another plan for her. You're listening to Ghostly Activities. I'm your guide, Jacob Rice, and this is Valparaiso Ghost Story. It was about 10 p.m. when the first sounds came from the top floor of this stereotypical split-level house. At first, it was a single knock. Then, a few minutes later, a louder knock would follow. Celine didn't pay much attention to these sounds. The house was new and probably settling on its foundation. She continued to draw her bath. As she settled into the tub, a rumbling sound started. This wasn't the ground shaking like a trembler. It was above her, and it sounded like a police raid running through the top floor hallway. It lasted a couple of minutes, though it seemed longer to her, and stopped. This panicked her. Nervously, she grabbed her cell phone and called 911 to report intruders. The police answered promptly and said officers would be out to inspect her house in a few minutes. Celine, now dressed, went from the bath to the kitchen to grab a knife. As she picked it up, the rumbling from the top level started again. This time it was deafening, but shorter than before. With a firm grasp on the knife, she went halfway up the carpeted stairs and paused. She tried to see who would be in the hallway, but it was too dark. She yelled, "Get out now! I called the police! You don't need this trouble!" When she reached the top of the stairs and stood at the beginning of the hallway, she felt vibrations. The rumble began again, just as loud as before. It felt and sounded like a cattle stampede with hammering knocks and bangs echoing down the hall. When it seemed like it would engulf her, a cool wind blew by and the front door made a slamming sound. She turned and went back downstairs to catch the intruders in her front yard, although she hadn't seen anyone. As she was about to open the door, she stepped on her keys. They had somehow fallen out of the bowl and onto the floor. She then tried to open the door, but it was still bolted from the inside. The police arrived at this time, and Celine, while shocked by these events, remained poised and greeted them on her doorsteps. She didn't want to sound crazy and downplayed the rumbling sounds. The officers went upstairs and turned on the lights. Everything seemed normal. The windows were locked and there were no signs of forced entry on any entrance. Celine thanked the officers, and they asked her to call if the trouble started again. It was now a few minutes past 11 p.m. As she closed the door and locked it, the TV in the living room turned on by itself. Halloween night was not over yet.